And good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about media in Indonesia. I think it's not gonna be too different what you always have in your countries, but I think with this kind of programs, we at least we can just share a little bit. Okay. Uh, this gonna talk about media in Indonesia after 1998, which is like most of Asian nations. Yeah, like most Asian nations, we have a very global economic crisis. Okay, so this is media in Indonesia. So before I started to speak about media in Indonesia, uh, I just want you to know a little bit about my country. So I'm going to show.
Is the mic on, by the way?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know, but we use the wireless for. Yes.
현장에는 안 들리는 거거든요, 마이크가.
아, 그래요?
예,
오케이.
현장 스피커에는 안 나오는 거고 기록용으로 저기다 세우는 거예요.
아, 네.
예, 촬영용으로요.
Yeah, so very okay.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So maybe my voice a little bit big. Okay. So yeah, I want you to know a little bit about Indonesia. Maybe some of you have been to Indonesia, but some of you haven't, right? So I'm going to show you a little bit about Indonesia. What is Indonesia? And this is a short video clips, with my national anthem on it. Okay. Just to know better about Indonesia. Wait. That's it. That's a short video clips about Indonesia, so you know how rich is Indonesia. We have all the mountains, the seas, the rivers, the land. We have all the natural resources, many, and you know that there are lots of diversities in Indonesia, right? So. Yes. You already know a little bit about Indonesia, right? Not now. And this is the uniqueness of Indonesia. We have more than 17,000 islands. Imagine that. We are the biggest archipelago in the world, and we are divided by seas. We have 250 million citizens, and we have 700 indigenous languages, and we have 6 biggest religions. Unique landscapes, we have the mountains, we have like valleys, we have seas, we have rivers, we have everything. And we connect Asia and Australia's continents. And not just that, we in 2014, Indonesia, the growth of economic Indonesia is on the 16th places in the world. It means we are developing very fast right now in economic sections. And not just, you can see the beauty of Indonesia, but Indonesia still have many problems on it. Like, in 2014, Indonesia been number 54 in 162 countries as the safest country. And it means that every 10 minutes there is one criminal. You know, there's something happens there in every 10 minutes. And in 2014, in the corruption matters, we are in the number 104 along the 174 countries. It means that we have many problems about corruptions. Now, so besides the beauty of Indonesia, we have many problems on it. So to cover it all, it means that we should have a strong media there, you know, to give informations to our people and to the other world. This is Indonesia, you know. And it begins, unfortunately, it begins in 1998. Like we know all that in 1997 and 1998, most Asian nations, we got global economic crisis. Like in South Korea, you've been bankrupt with the IMF, right? That a lot of, you know, I mean, your citizen, they donate their gold, you know, to make your economic better. But it's different with Indonesia. You know, in 1997 and 1998, a lot happened. We got economic crisis, riots everywhere around Indonesia. We are like an undemocracy nations, victim for civilians always increase. And there is absolute authorities. Because in these years, we have a president that already been as a president for 32 years. You know, so the situations in 1997 and 1998 is very bad. I can say that, you know, it's very bad. You know, like everything's gonna be unsecure. You know, it's very scared to go in the middle of the night. You know, because criminals are, I can say it's almost everywhere. You know, about this economic crisis. You know. Luckily, in 1998, there's a movement, I can say is pioneered by the college students. You know, like they want to make a movement to make a better Indonesia. You know, so they gathered a lot of mass and they're trying to impeach our president. So in 1998, the movements able to impeach our president. So it means it's gonna be the end of this absolute authority, you know, dictatorship. In that moment, before 1998, I can say that we have less freedom of press, right? And this is the pictures where the mass and the college students, they occupied the parliament buildings. And after, not long after this occupied, our president, Suharto, being impeached and resigned. So it means everything is turned back again. You know, like we are trying to build our democracy, we are trying to make a better economy. It's happening, you know. It takes time a lot. But within this movement, one thing for sure, that we have our freedom of press. You know, press. It means that media blooms since 1998. Radio stations from 738 stations become 847. That's a lot. That's a lot. And printed media from 286 become 1,881 printed medias. It's blooming a lot, rocketly. You know, and how about TV station? And this is TV station. This is our first nation televisions. This is our first nation televisions established in 1962, and along the way, there's only 1 to 6 TV stations that broadcast nationwide, and some of them are, from the government or owned by the private sector, which is in the family of our former presidents. So it can be just the same, about their policy, about how they react to, the government policy or something like that. So after 1998, the national TV that broadcast nationally, it's getting more and more. From 1998 to 94, this is the TV that broadcast nationwide. And where is CNN? CNN is in here. We are under the transmedia. But along 1998 to 2003, not all those medias can survive. They have some financial issues. They cannot compete with the bigger medias, and that's natural, right? So the strong will win against the weak medias, right? So all that small medias, they trying to make corporations, to make larger media corporations, and these are one of the biggest media corporations in Indonesia. And along this, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 24-hour news channels. Right. Yes, this is the biggest, 5 biggest media corporations in Indonesia, and the 3 of them, they have their own 24-hour news channel. Right. So, do you think it is good to have that kind of big corporations media? Yes. Do you think it's good? Yes. So it means that media can have a strong influence to the people, right? Right. They can have strong, legitimate, influence to people, right? But that's not correctly right, because with this strong influence to people, they can do everything they want, and that's the problem first. Okay. This is the problem that happened in Indonesia. Since 2014, we have our first national democratic presidential elections. Where people we choose our own president. The problem is some of these medias, you can read that, ownership considerations called self-censorship in the newsroom of many Indonesia's newspapers, radio stations, and TV stations. It means they have their own policy to deliver a story or not, depend on their needs, like that, right? The worst case is Indonesia's media scene is the fact that the owners of the largest outlets have direct affiliations with political parties and have themselves been presidential candidates. And imagine that. Candidates for presidential, they have a very big, very large media that can influence a lot of people in Indonesia. And most of them, they have their own 24-hour news channels within the biggest 24-hour news channel in Indonesia. So you can imagine that media being tools to deliver their campaign badly, So at that moment, all we can see is like war between the 2 strongest news channels in Indonesia, because these 2 news channels belong to the candidate that wants to be a president in Indonesia. So it's kind of bit like, like a propaganda happens all the time in the media. Like this is what happened in Indonesia in 2004, and it's getting worse in 2014. it's getting worse, right?
So how many presidential candidates are affiliated with media companies?
Well, actually, I'm gonna turn back. Where's the pen here? Oh, yeah, this one. There are two strongest candidates in 2014, okay? And I can say a little bit. This media corporations is has a good relationship with kind of media, right? So it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 TV stations that being on the side in one candidate, and the other one is this one. It's only one TV stations, but it has a great influence a lot in our news industry. It's on this the other side of the candidates. So it means that this one is going to be in war with this student. And luckily CNN is we're on this side because we are in the neutral line. Right? We are not affiliated with any other parties.
Were they successful?
One of them, yes. Yes. There are two candidates. Of course, one of them gonna win, and we as the candidate that being on the only one TV stations. That's the I don't think that he's a bad president, but what we are talking about is how the media is being tools to driven, the campaign of those. Right? It shouldn't be that way. Like media should be in a neutral ways. You have to deliver the same informations, the same portions about two candidates. The strongest candidate. Right? And this is. Okay, and this is what happened. When there's two biggest news media getting involved and being on the one side of the candidates. This is, it's kind of a bit awkward. You see this. This is a quick count. Before we have quick on first before the real, point. The result, right? And if you come here, this is belong to one of the news stations, and you can see this is 50.60%. This is 49.7%. If you combine these numbers, it means that they're gonna be more than 100%. So this is the way how they, try to make our point of view a bit different. Oh, this candidate is weak. Like by adding something that it makes sense, right? Yes.
Or rather, at the time, because of this kind of thing, they
Yes.
make the one who plan to be the winner, they file
Yes.
a complaint to
Yes.
constitutional court, and then they had a conflict, and it take too long until they can resolve this problem. He filed a complaint against President Jokowi, and then because of the result, they
Well, actually, this is not pro Jokowi. This is pro the other candidates. These other candidates, and we can see that they said that this kind of survey organizations is very valid, but it's in slightly way we can just see that there's something happened here, to driven our thinking, about about the result of this quick count, right? This is one of them, So we just have to be really, really careful to see about what media, give us the information about it, right? And this is the comprobations about the ratios of news, in each every stations. You can see here. Okay, this is this is from Indonesia Broadcast Commissions, with these commissions in charge in to monitor this TV. And like I said before, there's two biggest TV corporations. You can see that the red and the blue is in different candidates, right? You can see how they given news portions for these candidates, right? And for the Republican, it's only like this one. So it should be like this, right? I think the red one is just like this. This is the natural one. Yeah, they have the same, almost the same portions to deliver news about two candidates of presidents, right? This one, right? This is one of the worst case of our media, you know, depending on how they, you know, see the how these elections going through, right? This is, you can see now, right, how they, or how the portions is so divided like this, right? So because of this, there are so many you know, stories that cornered these candidates and this one also, and until that our Indonesian broadcast commissions give these two biggest you know, TV stations warnings that they did really wrongs to the people of Indonesia, right? That because what they deliver to the people, that it's totally not like democratic media, right? So what happened? This is what happened in our media in Indonesia last year, 2014. You know, I'm talking about this, you know, this news channel, right? But yes, they're like keeping the truth. They're not gonna tell good stories about the other candidates, right? They're telling only the bad stories about the other candidates. Trusted, right? We're going on. Should we trust this kind of news, right? So controlling agenda, you know, like sometimes they make a quiz, like a quiz, you know, a quiz, and they invited the candidates or like in the same political parties, you know, like at the end, the quiz is about to give a charity, you know, it's just like an advertise or campaigns indirectly, you know, it's like that. How about the station's informations? The information is always the same. It's always about this candidate, this candidate, this candidate. You know. And democracy, of course. So I can say that politics is all our frequency. Okay. Yeah. This is what happened last year. It's so, you know, it's getting confusing, you know, every single day at that time through the final presidential elections. So what about us as the common or the normal citizen looking for this? Look for this kind of, you know, things happening in our TV. You know. Is this true? You know, we'd question it, right? Is this story true or not? Where from? You know, it has to be from their party. Has to be from their candidates. You know, it's over and over and over again. And am I being proven? Like that. You know, like I think they're going to, you know, to drill me to choose this kind of candidate. You know, this person. This is person so great. This is the right person to become our president. They're driven us. You know. So what next? People tend to think, I think I can do better report. That has to look at this kind of news, right? They just feel like I'm enough at this kind of bullshit things, you know. You're promoting this man, you know, in not the proper way. So people now get to think I can do a better report. That's the new era of our citizen journalism. Like people, I can do better report. I can have my opinion about this person. I can have my own point of view of this candidate. I can share it with everybody. He's the right person or not. You know? Citizen journalism. Some people say it's participatory journalism, or some are saying open source journalism, which open source we can get all sources we can. Right? This one. And I took this advertise for this CNN IBM, which CNN nowadays they trying to to make people aware about this citizen journalism. And not just about the lack of trust in media. The citizen journalism now became one of the trend in our youngsters or in our bloggers, in our in our populations nowadays in Indonesia. Not just because of this kind of matters, but also we have that stuff, we have that gadget, we have that technology, because we know that Indonesia, we have 255 million total populations, and 33% internet penetrations is according to the World Rank, and we are the 6th in the world about internet penetrations, which is so good, I think. And we have that 69 million Facebook users, which we all know that Facebook is becoming the media to share that citizen journalism, right? And the mobile subscription penetrations is 112%, which is more than our population, right? It means that, like you said before, that not one person in Asia, maybe he or she has 2 cell phones, and 2 cell phones is connected to the internet, right? This is the tools that why citizen journalism is being so powerful right now in Indonesia. Access Twitter. Indonesia is the rank number 1. Yes. In August 2013, of the Twitter mobile applications and presentation overall iPhone users in the country. So we are in the number 1. So you can imagine that our Twitters is the biggest in the world. So it means we can reveal everything to Twitters, right? So this is how Indonesia nowadays. Right. But like we talked last 2 days, that in citizen journalism there's problems there, right? There's problems there, and we all know what the problems are. Like we can be control of major mainstream gatekeepers, like the mainstream media, that we have like that ethics codes, that we are trying to make everything not biased, in a neutral ways, And the second is the accuracy is questions. And the third was a lack of structured verifications process, which we have editors in our place, right, in mainstream media, and less journalism ethics. This has happened in alternative media nowadays, right? So it's getting so viral. It's spread like a virus, everything. Everyone can say comments about everything, which is it is good, not false, true. It's correct. You can say something. You can say everything about it, right? So that's why our government, they cannot, now they not able to make a certain regulations to protect this kind of citizen journalism. What we can do as a media is a TV station, we make some kind of this. This is one of the advertise that we share to our youngsters in campus, in universities, in college, in high schools, how to become a good citizen journalism, how to become a good journalist. This is our ways to help our government. Because in some of the TV stations, we have a segment which is accommodate the citizen journalism. Of course, with certain adjustment and policy and legal matters, and to be able to be broadcast in our TV stations, of course, the citizen journalism person, he or she has to know how to make stories first. right? This is what we are doing now. We are trying to promote how to become a good journalist. You're not to be, you're not have to work in the TV stations or newspapers or other media agency, but you can be a good journalist also. All right, this is how we try to help our government. We are building our trust with our community, how to become a good journalist. This is one of the way, and this is only one sample of the advertise. We call some producers, to give a speech about the programs, what is we can do and we cannot do as a journalist. This is one of them, and we have a good cooperation with the police department, something like that. This is one of the best, and it's always free, to get a lot of masks in our seminar like this. And how about CNN? The CNN already been, very truly aware about the citizen journalism way years ago. And this is the sample in 16 April 2007, where CNN just delivered to all CNN branches around the world. And this is a VT, video from the student Jamal Al-Barghouti that used a cell phone to capture of shootings, in some places, and it can be delivered worldwide by CNN and other media. It is a very great opportunity for for a lot of people. It is such an honor, right, to have your reports being broadcast all over the world by these kind of TV stations. Right? That's what they are trying to make now. To build the citizen journalism, but a good one. Right? This is what it is. And what we are doing in our TV station, like I said before, that we have a segment to gather all those citizen journalism. Maybe we have some lack of time, maybe like opportunity, because we are so limited, right? We are so limited. Even though we have 100 reporters, but so limited. So that's why we need people out there to give us another information about something, right? And this is one of the stories that become viral in YouTube and also being, one of the most watched report in our TV stations in Indonesia. This is a story about a biker, and he there to stop the what you call lots of Harley Davidson's members. They're like doing some activities. But the problem is they're blocking, public ways for like hundreds of Harley Davidson members can cross it. And this guy, maybe he's just fucking, fuck, this is Harley Davidson, they shouldn't do this. This is public ways. They should prioritize public first. Then unfortunately, this kind of mass is being, guarded by policemen. So they stop in the middle of the interchange and say something to these guys, the Harley Davidson communities, that what you're doing now is wrong, and there's somewhere here we can capture every single moment. Simple things, but it gives us awareness, right? And this place of YouTube is getting viral, and we just, and we interview. It's just like a sample of citizens that still have that guts to say the right things about something and have the guts to say that this is wrong. I think that we need a sample, we need a story of the humanity, right? Of humans, human interests, and that's really catch our attention. This is one of them. And the other one is, it's not too clear, but this is a story about a lady. Well, he stopped dozens of motorbikes that cross pedestrians in our capital city. And the police officer here, they didn't do anything. So this old lady, she's the one who stopped them and told them to get out from this pedestrian. Right. that's true, right? We have to do the same thing, you know. We should have the same courage to do that for a better society. Because like in Korea, you will see something like this, right? Everything is so well managed, and every single person in Korea, they obey the rules now. But it's different in our country, you know, like these kind of things happens a lot. You know, and some college students, they just capture all these moments and send it to YouTube as close private. So that's what we are trying to teach them, how to make a good story, how to make a good report about something. Not just to say something based on your point of view, which is weird questions about that, but we're trying to encourage them how to make a better report that give influence to a better information, just like that. Thank you very much. Right.
I have a suggestion. I myself have some questions regarding his presentation. I don't think it's so specific about his presentation, so why don't we sort of go over those questions specifically related to this presentation, and then after all, after all of the presentation, we're going to have another discussion for the common subject.
Yes.
How about that? Is it okay?
Yes.
So you first.
And what about the digital medias? You said that the internet penetration is high, the Facebook and Twitter subscription is also high. So what about the digital media? Is it affecting newspapers, TV stations?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But like it's getting more and more right now, right? But in Indonesia nowadays, like newspapers or TV stations, it's still being the number one, place for people to find the right answers or the right stories. They're not just based on this story, but nowadays people in Asia, they already learn about something, not just trust what they read on the online, but they're trying to find it in different, information from different medias. Yes. But there's others that still believing in it. That's why our duty, as a media, to give a better knowledge for them. Like if you want to know stories better, you have to find it from the other medias, to find the correct answer, not just believe in one such stories. That's it. Yes. It affects, yes.
They ask that there are so many local news organizations all ranges of platform, but in the meantime you have so many international news organizations in the country.
Yes.
Can you give a little bit details on why happening such?
In Indonesia nowadays, lots of international news media coming through now. Like CNN, for instance. We have Bloomberg. It's gonna be CNBC, Fox News. We have APTN. Lots of international media is coming to Indonesia because, I told you before, this is Indonesia. We have such a unique place. We have 250 million populations in Indonesia. So different cities, so many problems there, and like Indonesia now, we're gonna have the strategic roles in Southeast Asia. So I think that's the reason why lots of international media nowadays comes to Indonesia, to make their branch like that. Because, like I say, we are the country that being in the middle of Asia and Australia's continent. So it means that we are having a lot of informations from this, strategic, geographically strategic, right? That's it. So, and like I said before, TV and newspapers still become places for people in Asia to look for better information. Right? That's why they're brave enough, to invest in Indonesia, because they still think that Indonesia still have markets on that, and by what? Like I told you before we launch our CN Indonesia TV, first years ahead we have cnindonesia.com, and that cnindonesia.com has become our trained, to build our trust to people in Indonesia that beside this.com we have this TV station which is all very credible for you to get informations like that. And it happens with lots of international TV stations. Yes.
Any more questions?
Actually, you have raised the case like presidential election and the media have played a role in like the support ones and take side with yes, very biased. So as a journalist, do you think that you can make change, because Indonesia is the third largest democracy in the world, so I think you will have a perception or any idea to have change this kind of thing, because it needs to be we need to have like independent and neutral media. So.
Yes. Well, I have a lot of friends on those medias, right? So like you said before, we cannot argue with our boss, right? That's certain, policy behind that, right? In my company before, in my previous TV station, we have some of the journalists, producers, like executive producers, who's been enough with this kind of things, so just, resign from those medias and transfer to my medias before, because they still have that dignity to share stories that isn't biased or undemocratic or only one side. That's what happened, and not just by, the beginning of citizen journalism, people nowadays trying to find another sources, like I said before, they're not trying to look information regarding to the elections to that, news TV stations, but they're looking for another TV stations that have neutral, point of view, right? And that's why CNN is there, and we are guaranteed that CNN gonna be the neutral TV stations that will cover Indonesian stories like that. Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
I saw the slide. I think it was a fourth slide. It was about when the media grew in Indonesia, and what's the cause and effect relationship between. So you just mentioned the economic crisis in 1998, and then right after that you mentioned that media started to bloom. So what's the relationship between the economic crisis and the
in that time, we have that former President Suharto, which been president for 32 years in Indonesia. In that moment, there's some, dictatorship about news stories in media. Like not all media can, share these kind of things about government, bad things about governments. There's some media that still do that, but there were pressures to that. So that's what happened. So not many media, bloom in that period of time. Only certain media that, and some of the media, like I said before, is related to the president's family. So the policy about news stories is almost the same, like that. So after our president Suharto resigned, and so it means that all media here, after that 32 years of being in a cage of absolute, authority of this government, now they're trying to, share everything, like this is your government, you can see how bad, like that. So because of that kind of things, lots of investment comes to build a media here.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, we have that kind of dictatorship in Indonesia, especially for media. Like like some of journalists, disappear, because trying to make an investigative report about what happened in our government's policy, something like that. Yeah, we have that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.